everybody, and welcome to the Kevin Hackett Experience.
Wait, I thought this was called Food for Thought.
It is. What do you think about the
Wait,
Kevin
hold on.
Hackett
Is this ours or is this yours still? Remember we were talking about doing a...
A second? Like a second?
Yeah, but I don't remember if we actually were like, eh.
I mean, I remember you mentioning it, and I was like, I mean, we can.
I don't know.
Do you want to just call it something different? We
No,
can call it whatever you want.
I'm all for whatever, but I just thought like
It'd just
I
be
don't
funny
think you
'cause
want
it's-
me like because it's your show, Food for Thought, having different people on. You just don't want to have me on every single week.
Well, not every time, obviously.
No,
with
no,
other
no.
people. But I mean, yeah, like I would be down to have like a bunch with you too. Like Joe, my guy Joe. Like he has his buddy Brandon on all the time, or he has like reoccurring guests like often. Sometimes
Joe
like,
Rogan.
Yeah, sometimes back to back. I'm not saying like we have to do it his way. I'm just saying like using him as an example to say that like it's okay. Like I'm okay with having the same person on it.
That's fine.
Or you could even become, maybe you can be a co-host.
A co-host, so you have 3 people on?
Yeah, like you could sit right in the middle or something.
That'd be kind of fun.
And then we could have somebody else, and then it's like a...
It's not going to ruin the dynamic of your show.
I don't really, I mean, I don't know.
You don't know or you don't care?
I mean, I care to an extent, but I'm also open to like trying things out, you know? I'm not like...
I just don't want to like... I hate moving. It's like it's like going into a new friend clique that you just met. Like they're accepting of you, but you're just like, I don't want to ruin the status
Yeah,
quo.
like I don't want to...
Like I want to have a good
things up,
time.
yeah.
Yeah.
No, I get that. I mean, that's... nice.
That's why I think that's why I suggested just do
Like a second kind.
fucking monitors on. God damn it.
Keep looking at yourself.
I just noticed it just
want me to
now.
turn it off?
It looks so white.
You are super white.
Right now?
Just you're a white person. Like,
Oh, okay.
Very like ethnically white.
I feel just super pale, or like I think the monitor just shows that.
It probably, yeah. No, you look way whiter on the monitor than you do in real life. I mean, it's not that big of a difference. You're still pretty white in real life, but like.
Yeah, and working night shift hasn't been, I haven't been out in the sun, and it's winter. Like
Yeah.
even without a night shift job,
Mhm.
just like in the winter, I don't go out, so you don't get as much sun, obviously. So
It's okay.
I'm gonna get darker. I'm Italian. I get dark.
I'm pretty white also.
Nah, you got some dark. Not like this. I look like.
I'm like Polish, Irish, Czechoslovakian, and German. So I'm
You can get dark though.
I don't tan very well.
I'm like pre-Casper right now before he dies.
Yeah, I mean, what is your ethnicity?
Mostly Sicilian.
Sicilian. Where is even that? Is that?
It's
Italy?
basically Italy, but
Okay.
it's how Italy is a boot kicking a stone.
Yeah.
Sicily's the stone.
Okay.
Palermo represent, which is where all like
Putting on for your home country.
which is like where all the mobsters and pretty much like I've noticed that like all mobsters shown in the media are from Sicily, and they're usually from Palermo. And then I've been watching Golden Girls lately because I love that show. And the mother, who's really old, is Sicilian, and she's from Sicily, from Palermo, Sicily. I'm like, is every Italian ever shown in media just from Palermo, Sicily?
Are you trying to tell me that you're like a mobster? Is that why you were in the studio?
I actually do have.
Gangster relatives.
Yeah, so I wrote this in the notes for like the mafia comedy thing we're gonna do, or at least I'm gonna do. If you want to be whatever.
Yeah, no,
but I'm still in the middle of like
sure.
watching a shit ton of movies to like figure out what I want to do with it at least. But have you seen the first Godfather movie?
I've actually never watched any of them all the way through.
Really?
But I've seen a fair amount of at least one of them.
Do you know? Okay, I was gonna say like, do you know the characters? But like,
I mean,
really, only anybody ever knows is Marlon Brando as the Godfather, as Vito.
I was watching Goodfellas the other day.
Goodfellas.
Yeah.
Goodfellas is a good movie, but that's an easier movie to watch than The Godfather. I feel
I
like.
didn't even get through it.
Are you serious?
I think I've seen it before. For one thing, I thought I hadn't. Like I started watching, I was like, "This, I don't think I've seen this." And then I was like watching, I was like, "I feel like I've seen this." But I mean, it was good. I just kind of lost interest. Not that it was like.
Mm-hmm.
I guess I just wasn't in like the movie watching mood, or maybe it was that movie.
Usually, are you into mobster movies?
Sometimes.
Sometimes.
It's just I don't know.
See, like that's one of my favorites, so like I can just watch it all the time.
Yeah, I had a friend in college who's obsessed with like mobster movies and shit. But like, yeah, I'm not like crazy about them or anything, but I don't dislike them.
Yeah.
I've seen a few that I like, but
There's some bad. I mean, there's some bad ones.
yeah.
But long story short, there's a guy named Luca Brasi. That's the character's name.
Mhm.
and the actor's name, I feel it's one of those like I know the information, but now that I'm trying to talk about it, I like feel like I'm gonna say it wrong. But the actor's name is Lenny Montoya.
Like Tony Montana.
Oh, wait, hold on, sorry. See, now I have to look this up because I want to be absolutely sure because I don't want to piss anybody off. But
like you freaked up the name, man.
I know, I'm so sorry. I'm just a terrible person, but my relatives are supposed to be from like in the gang mob.
Yeah.
I was told like because back in the day that's when they were, mobbing. But then my mom sent me a screenshot of an article like in 2020 saying with her maiden name, last name, which is supposed to be like, hey, our relatives are still doing shit in Chicago. Yeah. So I'm like, oh, okay.
So if you needed like something taken care of, you could just reach out like, hey, we've never talked, but I'm your blood relative and I need you to take care of somebody for me.
I always thought, because as a kid, I thought that was really cool. Or like, as a teenager, I thought that was really cool. And I thought, well, if I don't make it as this, I guess I can go kill people. But then as I got older, I'm like, that's
Reasonable.
a dumbass decision. Okay, so I was right. That is his real name. So his real name is Lenny Montoya, and that is my grandfather's cousin that I'm related to.
Is he a murderer?
He used to be. He used to be something. So
Some sort of mobster.
He used to be because he used to be a wrestler with his cousin, my grandfather's brother, Rip Hawk, back in like the 70s, 60s and shit. Mm-hmm. And then, Rip Hawk kept doing wrestling, and then my grandfather wrestled with him and Lenny Montoya for like a tiny bit. And then Lenny Montoya stopped wrestling and doing work for crime work and decided to go into movies, and like The Godfather was like the second or like one of the top, like maybe not the first, but maybe the second or third thing he did.
He acted in The Godfather?
Yeah, he had he was a big role in it for like the beginning because like he gets killed.
Yeah, but like up until that point, he's like in the movie kind of often.
Yeah, because in the beginning, during The Godfather's his daughter's wedding, there's people.
That's a really good impression.
Thanks. There's a part where, Luca Brasi's here. He wants to thank you for coming to his wedding because he didn't know, like, he didn't think you would be invited. So there's a point where Luca Brasi is, like, standing by himself, talking to himself, practicing, thanking Marlon Brando for being invited to the wedding. Mm-hmm. And then it's kind of comedic because then eventually when he goes, it shows the scene where he's thanking him, and he says, "Thank you, Godfather, for inviting me to the wedding." And the Godfather's like, "Yeah, okay, yeah, you're welcome, of course." And it's just like, it's like not hilarious, but it's just like, haha.
But what's funny about that?
What do you mean?
Like, hold on, it was over my head.
Just like, because he's all nervous and like, it was just kind of an
awkward. Is this your relative?
It was Marlon Brando and my relative Lenny Montoya interacting. Because in the story, this guy, this mobster, didn't know he was going to be invited, so he wanted to pay his respects to the Godfather, and he was so nervous he was practicing. And the Godfather's like, "Yeah, whatever, of course."
He was nervous in the movie or in real life?
Huh?
Like his character was nervous in the movie?
Yeah, his character. Like, I'm just speaking of characters.
Yeah. Okay.
So like the character is supposed to be nervous, and the Godfather's like, "Yeah, whatever, okay." And then it's like, oh, haha. But then it finally shows the scene, and it's just awkward between it's supposed to be a serious mobster movie with Marlon Brando, but then there's just like awkward like, "Thank you for inviting me to the wedding." And Marlon Brando, as the Godfather's like, of course.
Yeah.
Like that. It's just like,
yeah.
Again, not the funniest thing, but it's just like, oh, it's funny. It's like, where did this come from in this whole movie?
Yeah.
And then he gets killed in the movie, and then it was kind of sad to watch.
But you're writing a mobster short film? Basically?
I wanted to write something funny.
Do you want to act in it?
No, because the first movie I ever did was kind of mobstery. Yeah. And it sucked for multiple reasons, and I was also acting in it, and I don't ever want to do that again. So if anything, I might remake that one, and then eventually, maybe, but no.
I'm thinking you should act in it, and you should play like a hitman.
I was.
Like oh, really?
I did in the first one, yeah.
Yeah. Like a badass hitman kind of guy?
The idea was, it was a young hitman, and it was talking to his boss, and throughout conversation, they find out that the boss's wife is like sleeping with the hitman and shit, and then was, you know, so he's mad about it, and then the boss is also dealing with the rumors of mutiny to, you know, his gang or his family's going to kill him because they think he's like, you know, not fit anymore, and he thinks that the hitman is the guy who put him up, you know, who started it all, but actually it was his wife. And then eventually at the end, the hitman kills the boss, and the hitman gets in the car, and the wife that was having an affair with the hitman kills the hitman too, and is the leader of the family now.
So she kills the hitman because she wants to lead the family?
Yeah, it was her plan all along.
Would that ever actually happen, like a woman lead like a mob family?
Well, apparently, I was telling that to someone after I filmed it, and I think they said something like Hamlet, and they're like, oh, so like Hamlet. I'm like,
I'm not familiar enough.
I see. I'm not either. That's why I'm like, I don't think Hamlet was right. But he called something as soon as I was done explaining the story. He was like, oh, so it's this. I'm like, so this was already written. And then as he said that, he's like, yeah, the wife like pretends to do this and like forms a coup basically in a way and kills the husband because she wants the power for real.
Yeah.
And he's like, I think it was it was obviously written differently for the time because it's an very old story. So,
Right.
But then afterwards, I'm like, yeah, I guess my idea really wasn't that unique to begin with.
Yeah, but I fucking hate when people do that, honestly. Like, to an extent, it can be productive, but also it can honestly be, like, it can, like, take away from the passion you have for it, because people are like, oh, it's already something somebody else did. And it's like, every fucking story in the world has been done, basically, some way or another. Like, it's just impossible, basically, to, like, be completely unique. So I wouldn't beat yourself up over it. I think that's...
Nah, I didn't really beat myself over not creating something new. It was more of the production sucked. Just the whole making it in the final product was awful.
I've had people do that to me so many times where I like have an idea for something and they're like, and I've done it to people too. Like I literally just last night I was hanging out with my buddy Jake, and we were listening to some music that he had recorded, and I was like, oh, you sound like Elvis, you know, like his voice kind of sounded like Elvis, and then his friend was singing, and I was like, oh, he sounds like Jim Morrison, you know, and they did, I think they had like some sort of semblance of that, but I didn't say it, I was really saying it as a compliment rather than to be like, you don't sound original and unique. It's like, you still sound like everything's unique to an extent, but like, everything is inspired by something, like, because you take away from things your whole life, you know, and then whenever you create something, it's like, has to be derived from somewhere.
Right, which is why I fucking hate Disney for their copyright bullshit. Like, I understand protecting one's property and stuff, but like to make new ideas, like it is possible to make new original ideas, but it's tough, and I feel like you can do that. Like a lot of original ideas also come from working on like already established things.
Yeah, and I mean, if you want to boil a story down to like,
isn't it all Bible good and evil?
I mean, I'm sure there's all kinds of philosophies about it or whatever. But
it's like the original. Well, it's like the original story or whatever, and then everything else is just kind of like a play off that. And then now, like it's
not really how I was looking at it. The way I think of it is like, and I think this way partially because my English teacher taught me this when I was in high school. He started to teach me about like storytelling, and he started this book club. It was more of like a film club, but we got like books, and they would teach us about filmmaking and like storytelling, and one of the things that he was teaching us were like archetypes. So like, you know, like depending on the story, there's always like a antagonist, protagonist, you know, like when you boil stories down to like you have to have some sort of conflict where there's like a character arc and some sort of character development go on, and some sort of challenge where like there's literally like a chart he was showing,
I know what you mean.
And then you have like the climax like before the end.
And the falling action. It's the rising action, climax, falling action, and then conclusion. I can't remember the others.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like when you really boil anything down, if you want to be super like annoying to people who are trying to write things, I mean, it's not really original. It's like, I don't know, that shit kind of bothers me, but
I think I think you can do that too. Like if you bring it up, you're like, oh, it's like this, but what if you did this and then like changed it just a little bit?
Right, and it can actually be helpful too. I think like to think that like scientifically about it, because it does apply to like every story. more or less. You know, I mean, there can be variances, but
plus, I feel like if you don't follow that,
it's probably gonna be a bad story.
it's just kind of boring. Like I feel like comedy is different because it can just be jokes, I guess, but it can still have a lot of nothing going on.
Yeah, I mean, even in comedy though, they have like that same, you know, you have the conflict and the climax and all that shit. So it's like, I don't know. I tried to like avoid thinking about storytelling that way, but really, any good story I think kind of has to have those elements to it.
I just think about it like for an idea like the Mafia story right now. Like I don't have it. It's short. It's gonna be short, and I haven't really written it out yet, but I have an idea. But there's nothing big or dramatic, at least right now. Like I haven't, like maybe there might be something, but for now there isn't for sure. But just like, it's just right till I get bored. Like, if I get bored, I'm just like, all right, something needs to happen because like, it's my own idea, and the possibilities are endless, and I'm getting bored just writing this part. Like something needs to happen, or it needs to change. Yeah. So I pretty much just write like that, but it generally follows that same thing. Because there's a movie at that hookah lounge that you met me at that the old owner used to play all the fucking time. All the time.
He'd play the movie like in the lounge.
There's no sound, but so the subtitles would be up. But I mean, at this point I've watched it so many times because like that was his backup movie. Like if he didn't have a new movie, it's just like just put this one on. And it was Coffee and Cigarettes by Jim Jarmusch. Whatever. I don't know how you say his last name. And he just came out with a new movie like 2 or 3 years ago, and that was a wild fucking ride of a movie. Yeah, it was The Dead Don't Die. I remember me and my brother went to go see that movie, and in the theater we were just like, "What is this?" And then something happened in the movie that was completely not like 'cause it's supposed to be a zombie movie, but then something happened that was completely came out of left field to where even the guy next to me said. Like screamed out, "What the F?" and started laughing so loud. But Coffee and Cigarettes was
now I'm curious what it was.
It was an alien spaceship and came and abducted someone, and it had no explanation or anything.
Like before or after, it just kind of like happens, and then it's like not.
Yeah, like I think the only thing that like, because it abducted a woman, it was Tilda Swinton, I think, in the movie, and it abducted her, but I think it was like. Not really abducted. I think she was an alien. She got picked up. But throughout the movie, I didn't get any indication she was an alien. It's just that she was just odd. She was just an odd person. And I think it was perfect to pick Tilda Swinton because she can play and she can look that just... Yeah. She's not anything... She can be fantastical, but she can just be... But, yeah, just... She was an odd character. She would just do weird shit. But there was so much else going on that I'm like, I don't care about what's going on here. Like... Yeah. And then at the end, like, she's just walking in the dark and someone's watching her. And then, like, a spaceship comes up and picks her up and flies away. We're like, the hell is this?
And it didn't get, like, addressed at all, like, afterward. It's just, like, that happens and then the story just moves on.
Yeah. Yeah, that was it. But Coffee and Cigarettes is a vignette of just conversations, which is cool. And I only don't like the movie because I've seen it so many times and I'm like, I just want to watch something else. But it's a cool idea. But and there's some things that happen, like nothing major.
But you're saying it's just like the format of it.
There's just nothing happens.
Have you ever seen I think it's called The Waking Life? It's a pretty artsy movie. It's kind of it's like sort of a animated movie. It's really trippy, and it's sort of like a lucid dream kind of movie. I just remember watching it in college. Just my girlfriend at the time introduced me to it, and that shit was pretty crazy. But it's a good movie. It's very like philosophical and sort of random. So it's like hard to really follow any sort of plot. Like even when I think about it now, I'm like I don't really know what the fuck that movie was about. But it's just like there's like really random characters in it. There's some pretty famous people in the movie, and it's like animated in a really like abstract way. Okay. It's pretty cool, but it I don't know. I might think differently of it if I rewatched it because it was a while ago. Yeah. Like 10 years ago, maybe, you know. Or
10 years ago? Did it come out then, or do you just watch it?
It might have been kind of new around then. I don't really know if it was out for a while or not. I feel like it was probably kind of new at the time, but I don't even remember.
Well, it obviously made an impact on you and
Yeah.
in America as a whole.
Yeah, I mean, I was like maybe it had to do with like what was going on in my life at the time too, to where that was more impactful of a movie.
Okay.
But she was like pretty inspiring to me actually, like when it came to like photography and art and filmmaking and stuff. So she was like my muse at the time.
Your ex-girlfriend?
Yeah, but like it was she introduced me to like foreign films and got me super into like photography and stuff like that. So it was like things that I really didn't care about or like wasn't that curious about to begin with.
But she got you into it.
Yeah, like her passion for it I thought was like really inspiring, or like it just showed me like a different thing in life that I hadn't really like looked into, too much, and I ended up liking it a lot. We used to go like shoot photos, just do little photo adventures, walk around places, take pictures, or like kind of, if you want to call it modeling, but basically just doing like portraits and candid stuff and shooting, whatever, and shooting like stupid shit sometimes too. We shot some of the dumbest shit. I remember one time like just like I had this old like VHS camera, like a little mini DV tape camera.
Yeah.
That I used to film skateboarding with and stuff. But I don't even remember. There was literally no real story, but I just remembered like being in her apartment and like going in circles, like having like my arm can't really raise it because it's surgery right now, but like having arms up and like spinning in a circle, and she was like circling the opposite direction, and it was just stupid.
Yeah.
But like just filming dumb shit. I don't know.
But it's stuff like that that's like
fun.
As a filmmaker that you're just playing.
Yeah.
And then like if you are doing something for real, it's like, oh, I did this when.
Yeah, it can give you some ideas or get your creative juices flowing.
Yeah.
And it's just fun.
Yeah, it's just fun.
At the end of the day, I feel like that's kind of like the most important part, is to like enjoy it. Otherwise, like, why are you doing it?
Yeah. So I remember, because I did that with my brother. I'm just like, I told him like, just do a few things. I don't know what I want yet.
Yeah.
And like I think there's like a really cool lightsaber we had that's like, if you turn off all the lights and you turn it on, it like lights up the entire house, even rooms with the doors closed. Yeah, it's so bright.
Yeah.
But then I had him go outside in the dark, and I put it in 4K slow-mo, and I just had him like move it around. It looks so nice.
I bet.
Yeah. That's gotta have to go. I'm gonna have to put that.
Have you ever? I'm sure you have, but you've seen like behind the scenes, like what I'm thinking in particular is like some famous actors. I'm trying to think of who. Maybe Tom Hanks, or like it's just some really like A-list celebrities who they'll have some behind the scenes footage of them on a movie set where the director might give them a little bit of direction, but it's like kind of vague. And then like I've seen clips where like the actors are actually like communicating back and forth with the director, giving the director ideas like, hey, what if I did it this way? Or like, I think my character would do this. Because like that's one thing I think is kind of cool, a cool directing style where like a director will have confidence in the actor to like own their character, to where like a lot of actors I think do that, where they get like kind of, they develop their own character, like their own backstory and their own little nuances to the characters, and then they can kind of use that as inspiration. So some of these behind the scenes clips will show like an actor like delivering a part or delivering a scene or take or whatever in a certain way, and then they cut and they redo it and they do it a different way, and they just keep like giving them different material. Like one was like Joaquin Phoenix with the Joker. Like there was some, that's who I was thinking of actually, but like the scene where he's doing the game show, if you saw, did you see that movie?
Yeah.
Yeah, he goes on Mari or whatever it's called. My friend actually shot that scene.
Are you for real?
Well, he was like the techno crane operator. He does all kinds of huge productions, but like he, Joaquin, like when he was doing that scene, he was like there's, you can find it on YouTube. It's really, I thought it was pretty interesting, but he was doing, each take like was completely different. As far as like, where his blocking was, like as far as like where he moves to on the set and how he's like just what his actions were and everything, and even his lines were somewhat different.
It's great for continuity.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it was like to a point where like it would be usable, like because there's certain things that you have to know like to do for continuity. Yeah. But then like there's things in between those, where you can have more freedom, and it gives like the editor a lot to work with because from an editing perspective you can. You can experiment, like let's try this take, let's try that take, and what if we cut it this way or that way?
And I did that. I wanted to do that with the shorty film I did in the film class with the instructor that we know.
Mm-hmm.
But at the time, I felt really time constricted. So I just want to get it done at this point. Like, so much time has been wasted for reasons I don't know and reasons I did. But
Yeah.
I think I kind of did that a little bit too. I'm just like, yeah, just go.
Mm-hmm.
There was one time where there was a scene we did at the school, and I guess this makes sense for like if people knew what kind of school it was.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, if there's a commotion, people get like deathly worried as to what might be happening.
If there's a commotion at the school?
Yeah, like, people are, there's filming going on. It could be staged or something.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm pretty sure it was made clear that we were filming something.
Mm-hmm.
But the way it was, like, what happened was someone was supposed to pull somebody out of the room while they were screaming, "No, get off me," and then yelling stuff at the character that was related to the story. I don't remember what he said.
Mm-hmm.
But it went out to the room by the receptionist because the room we were in was right next to it. So they basically just like walked there and near some of the offices of the...
Yeah, where like administration is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I didn't yell cut. I just kind of let it happen. Mm-hmm. And I didn't tell them to keep going, but they just did. And so I'm like, all right. And then I even said it under my breath. I'm like, Jesus. It's like they're really going for it.
Yeah.
And apparently they thought like there was a fight going on, like really badly.
Yeah.
Until they stopped and said, no, it's fine. And I'm like, yeah, sorry, I didn't yell cut. I just let it happen.
Yeah.
I just want to see
where it goes.
Yeah. But then I felt bad. I'm like, I almost just made the entire school go into fire lockdown.
Call the cops or something.
I mean, it wouldn't have been the first time, I guess.
No. The first day I ever worked at that school, like on my own without shadowing, there was like almost a fight between these two girls, and security had to like get involved, I think.
Was that at the Madisonville?
Yeah, the old building.
Is there security there?
Well, I don't know if they had security back then. They did eventually start bringing security in because there was like...
Not for me.
Well, when I was there, like towards the end of my teaching there, they started having a security guy. But then like that guy would not always be there too sometimes, and maybe it was just for the night classes.
I was night classes.
Oh,
I never saw if there was a security guy, I either didn't know he was security or he just wasn't there and I never saw him.
I don't know how effective he would have been anyway.
I don't know. But now that they're in a different building, there's like a building manager, I guess.
Yeah.
And so he deals in that type of crap.
Yeah.
But
yeah, it was. Yeah. Oh, never mind.
Yeah, I know.
I actually I was thinking about. I think we talked about last time, and sometimes I'll like disparage a school or something, but I actually like met a lot of people that I'm still like in contact with from teaching there, and and I also feel like I've impacted like a number of people, and vice versa too. Like it impacted me. It was a part of my life, So it's not. I don't want to come across as like putting the place down or like the people or whatever. Like
you can do that with anything.
Yeah,
I mean,
like it's not a perfect place. It's like they have tons of flaws, but there was a lot about it too that I actually appreciated. And
and people. I mean, like I hate to say it for myself, but like I feel like I complain more than I talk about the positive stuff, which is why I'm trying to change. My leg just got a cramp, and so. People will probably complain more about it anyway.
It's easy to complain.
Yeah,
sometimes it's hard to be like, it's just not as easy to be positive sometimes.
I think it's healthy to complain, especially
to
like it just helps me get it out.
Yeah, you have to like let it out too.
Yeah, but and I know like usually it's after, or at least it used to be. I would know I went too much after, but now I'm like catching it in the middle. I'm like,
you mean complaining too much?
Yeah. So usually it's like a day later. I'm like, I could have stopped halfway through. But
I think everybody does that too, though.
But then now I'm like, I thought about it so much that I've just started catching it. Like just stop.
Yeah.
It's like you say you hate them, but you don't.
Yeah.
It just feels nice.
Yeah, dude. I find myself doing that a lot with certain things where I'm like, I feel a certain way, but I'm really just saying some things because, like, I'm upset or whatever, And it's like, damn, I didn't even really it's the weird thing about like thoughts versus like words is that like it's so hard to express what you feel because the English language is so limited. I've even heard like English compared to say like Chinese or something, there's like a ton more characters in Chinese, and it doesn't exactly translate like language to language.
Yeah.
But like with certain languages, I think Chinese is one of them. There's actually like a lot more variety for how to express your thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
But with English, it's like more limiting, and sometimes like I'll try to express something, but it's difficult because it's like I have all these different opinions about like the same thing sometimes.
Yeah.
It's like it's not just this or just that, and it's so hard to vocalize it all.
I found like a picture that was a list of words for moods you didn't know you felt, and very specific. And I saved it. I can't remember if I saved it on Reddit or I like screenshotted it and it's in my photo gallery, but it's in there. I'm sure just lost, but I liked that because it would help for writing and also with what you were just saying.
Just speaking and expressing yourself.
Yeah, but that makes me feel a little better that like English doesn't have a lot of characters or words for stuff like that, because I thought like I'm just uneducated. Like I can pick 4 of these words and use the hell out of them instead of just like I just don't know a lot.
Yeah, I mean I think it's a combination of like the limitations of the language and like the characters and what's available, and then also just like definitely an education thing too, like depending on how like large your vocabulary is and all that.
Yeah, public schools knock it right out the park, especially for football.
I almost went to a private Catholic high school, but I didn't.
I did.
I had a scholarship.
I didn't go to the high school, but I went to private Catholic school.
Like grade school?
Yeah,
So
it was preschool to second, and then we moved here, and then I wasn't in that anymore.
I went from preschool to 8th grade, and then...
That's a long time.
Yeah, I had like none teachers. I was like kind of a troublemaker. I was actually a big troublemaker in grade school.
A devil.
Yes, exactly what I was gonna say. I was Satan. So like, I would get in trouble a lot, but it was fucking hilarious back in the day. But like once I got to high school, I wasn't really as much of a troublemaker. I think I hung out with people who like weren't really like good kids, but like I wasn't really like pissing off teachers at all in high school, like at all really.
You were putting whoopee cushions under their seats, but you weren't like going to their cars and stabbing their tires out so they.
No, it was like the other way around. Like
you were worse.
I would cut brake lines and nothing big, but like,
nothing big, just cutting brake lines of Sister
like,
Mary.
Yeah, like pouring. What do you do like in the gasoline?
Milk or sugar?
Does that ruin the car?
I think it's sugar. You put it in there because it
like bust up the engine or whatever.
Yeah.
Probably. I don't know. No, I never did that.
I was gonna like. I hope not.
Just casually, like, yeah.
Yeah.
He used to cut nuns' brake lines.
It was a huge. What was it like? Because I remember going from 2nd grade private Catholic school to 3rd grade public school, on top of just being in a completely new city at a young age. Like it was daunting. And not good, and it lasted.
What, switching from Catholic to public?
And also a new city, so like none of your friends. It's
don't
like
know anybody.
it's like one of those like you can move schools, but your friend still lives like 10 minutes away. Instead of it was like you move schools and you'll never see those friends again.
Yeah, gone. Yeah.
I only want to talk about. I don't. Yes, but moving to public school to a new city did not work out well for me, and I didn't handle it well, and then that pretty much cemented a lot of horrible things. I don't want to talk about this anymore.
You're just permanently fucked up for the rest of your life because of it. Hell yeah, dude.
I'm sure I'll talk about. I'll talk about the specifics one day. I just don't feel like talking about it today.
No, I don't want to pry if you don't talk. I was just trying to make a joke, but like.
Oh no, you're fine.
But yeah, I mean, I can kind of relate because I went to a Catholic school till 8th grade, and then I had a scholarship to Elder High School, and I was about to go to it, and I had a number of friends who went there, or Xavier, which are both Catholic high schools, but I was already at a point where like I'd get in fights with my parents specifically my dad about going to church and stuff, and I'd like been getting in trouble at Catholic school a lot, and I was just kind of like anti-establishment, like, so I was already kind of leaning towards like I want to go to a public school because of those things, and then I also wanted to be around girls and like not have to wear a uniform and just stuff like that. So that was like my decision making reasoning for like going to public school. But yeah, it was like I think it was beneficial in a number of ways, but it was also like a hugely different experience than Catholic school in some ways too, which probably was, counterproductive to what I was used to. So
Right.
didn't always probably go well because of that. But
I hate high school, and I hate every single part of my life before being 25,
Really?
which is what I am now, for the most part. Again, I'll talk about that one day publicly on something, whether it's this podcast or not. That's a lot. Now? I hate everything about my teenage years.
I feel like I could pry, but I'm telling myself not to.
Oh no, I'll probably tell you.
I feel like I could be like.
I think I've told you like at least some of it. Probably. I'll definitely tell you in private, but it's just like, the internet, that's a different thing.
Yeah.
Like I want to. It's just
the right time. Yeah. Got to do it.
I'm also not in the mood.
Yeah.
I'm in a good mood. I mean, I'm dealing with some other stressful shit. I don't want to put like that negative stuff on top.
That's kind of like I do therapy, and sometimes it reminds me of like what you just said. Sort of like sometimes I'll be in a good mood, and then I'll do therapy, and like the point of therapy is to like talk about shit in your life that was like hard for you. Yeah. And then you like end therapy and like, damn, like not in a good mood anymore.
Yeah, I know what happened.
But it's also like a good thing, But I'm not saying that to say like let's talk about it right now. I'm just saying
it'll happen.
Yeah.
Because it's just a lot.
Get it out of them, guys.
Also, it's just because it's a lot. Like there's a lot to talk about and explain, and God, I'll put all of those like that subject into like one sentence. I hated who I was. I feel guilty constantly, and I just want to die from it. But
period.
Yeah.
To be continued.
And I'm trying to be a better person based off that because I just feel enormous guilt all the time. That's about it.
Now I'm super curious, and now I feel like you have to tell us.
Well, it's not like I was a shit. I mean, like, I feel like I was just a horrible person.
Dude, I have plenty of fucking guilt about stupid shit or whatever. People that I've like hurt or whatever. Like, it's nobody's perfect. So, but yeah, it's definitely easy to like be hard on yourself, and sometimes you have to be hard on yourself, to like become better. So.
Mm-hmm. And that's the point. So, like, as much as I hate it, it's just like, well, you wouldn't be where you are now. And then I'm like, oh, that's a good thing. And then I'm like, I wouldn't be where I am now. I'm like, oh, yeah, you're right. That is a bad thing.
When I started my business, actually, I was, like, going through a lot. Like, it's kind of like what you were just describing, where I felt like very similar, that I kind of hated myself. And I was just like, I hate who I've been. I hate all this time I've, like, squandered and, like, all the... like the potential that I have that I wasted, or, like the lost opportunities, and like just, I felt like I had been through a lot of like bad things with people that, weren't like the best to be around and things like that. And then not to put all the blame on other people. Like I wasn't always great either, but like I was going through like this like sort of transformation process where I was trying to like better myself and be a better person. And that was around the time, like, when I started teaching at Ohio Media School. I started my business, and, like, I mean, it was a hard time to go through that, because you have to really, like, look at yourself in the mirror, and, like, look at everything, not just, and I'm not saying I've been through that, and I'm, like, such a great person now. I still feel like that sometimes, but, like, I think that you deal with that, like, your whole life, anyway.
Maybe you do. I haven't lived my whole life yet, so I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure you can kind of get it like to a point where it's not as like pressing and mentally,
Well, yeah, because like at this moment in my life right now, like it's not like I don't think about it constantly anymore. Like
but
I used to think about it every single day to the point where it's just like I'm never suicidal. There's points where I'm just like, if I die right now, that would be pretty okay.
Yeah, you just feel like kind of bleak.
Yeah, like I kind of just want it to end. Like right now, I'm tired of struggling, but it's just but never suicidal. But it's just been like, But now it's just kind of like, if I do think about it, it doesn't suck as much. It's not as heavy.
You've like learned to cope with it more and like process it and get over it or through it or whatever.
Yeah, and maybe it's because there's like more years in between, or maybe it's I'm so different than what I was even like a year ago.
Yeah.
And when I mean like what are we, March now? So I'll say last January of 2020 was like very different person from then to now.
Yeah.
So, and I like myself better now.
Yeah.
Like, here's a great example of, and this isn't high school years. This is like in film class with my instructor. Dating someone, that was very stressful. I was dealing with other stressful things, and I was doing a lot of big changes and I was really diving deep into school and stuff. And so I was very like tense and on edge like all the time.
Yeah.
And one day I was sick. Like, I wasn't like deathly ill, but it was just like, you just feel groggy, tired, and you're like, I just want to get through the day and do that for the next 3 days until I get better.
Yeah.
My instructor brought me to this like mixer where filmmakers and people in the industry hang out and just drink. I didn't know that until like I think maybe a few hours before, because like we would have class outside of the school sometimes, which was fine. But that day I'm like, this is the worst time. Like, I'm not in. I'm like, thinking back on it now, it's like I was already angry, intense, and just wanted to learn. And it's like, I don't want to go to some party and talk to people.
Yeah.
And now I'm sick on top of it, so now I just want to go to bed.
Yeah.
And I think about that party now, and I'm dying and clawing to just talk and like be.
Like, you wish you could do it again. Like,
Yeah,
go
like
back and be in a better headspace to like enjoy it.
Yeah, like I just like, because now I'm like, I'll talk to anyone. I mean, I usually would talk to anyone. It just, now it's like, I think maybe it's because of the lockdown pandemic stuff, but like now I'm just clawing to talk to just random people for fun, just to see what's up, like meet new people and like, what's your life like?
Yeah, yeah.
It's like, what are you doing?
Right.
Where were you on 9/11?
Socializing.
Yeah. And so I pray for that now, because like there's a guy, and I think you know who he is. I'm not going to say his name.
Yeah, I wasn't even going to ask because I figured I might, but it doesn't matter.
Yeah, but there's a guy that like I'm friends with him on Facebook now, and I follow him on Instagram. He's a really cool guy, and I like this stuff that I've seen of him. And I talked to him. That's where I met him. But I just was like in that mood, and I'm like, wow, I really squandered this to like make that connection instead of just a Facebook friend number to go up a little bit.
Yeah.
And I even last night, because I was up all night, I couldn't sleep, I Googled filmmaker mixers upcoming.
Yeah.
And like, there's probably nothing, but like, I was really just looking for it.
Yeah.
Like that. My voice is already starting to go. We were talking about that last time.
You want some more water? You can take a break real quick if you want.
Yeah, just a quick one.
A glass. Nick, can you just cut this part or something?
Nick.
Tell it. Cut it. My ex, I thought, I was like, we're not really getting along. I'm going out to Colorado. I'm about to find a girl out here, and I actually did too. But
Did you really?
Well, I met a girl at the night before at a bar who invited me to her like townhouse where she was staying with like 4 other hot girls. And
interesting.
They had a hot tub on the roof that I was gonna like go hang out with them.
And then you got hurt.
I fucking got hurt the next day. I was like, dude, like, of course, it literally was just like, I think I just got too ahead of myself. It's like too much. I don't know. It's hard to explain. But
I know. I get it though, because, it's like, if that happened, I would say to myself, like, this is my luck. Like, like I'm getting my life, like I'm doing things I should be, like I'm doing it regularly, and like, for once the opposite sex is like, yeah, come on over.
I talked to her at the bar for literally 2 hours, like sitting real close to each other. Like, it wasn't like a bad conversation. Like, we were having like a pretty nice conversation for like 2 fucking hours straight, and she was pretty fucking hot too, and like she was really cool. Like, I was hyped to be talking to her because I'd only been with the same girl for 5 years. Yeah. And I'm just like...
You're like, variety.
Yeah, I was like, oh yeah, that's what it's like to fucking have a normal conversation with a girl again. And like, it was really refreshing. And like, she, even after, like, when the bar was closing, like, we were talking about going to another bar, and I was like this close to going with them. I could have probably gone back to their place, but I was like, I'll just go back to like the hotel or whatever. And like, we were talking about like riding the next day together and stuff for a little, which we didn't end up doing, but like, yeah, man.
But it's just like, of course.
Yeah.
Of course it happened.
I don't know if I'm gonna. By the way, this is an edit note for.
Oh yeah, we're not.
I don't know if
We didn't say
should-
cut back in
I
yet.
don't know if we should include that. I don't know how much like relationship stuff I want to include because I don't want.
No, keep it out.
I don't
I've learned to, like, if I'm going to talk about relationships,
do it in private.
in private, but if I'm going to talk about it like on air, keep it vague. I mean, like, if you tell a specific story, they're going to know who it is.
Especially with it being so fresh. Like we just stopped talking to each other like a week ago.
Yeah, tensions are going to be high.
And it's like, I'm not out to hurt anybody or like.
Well, because it's my, it was a relationship you're both in, but it's like, it's also my life.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not going to name.
And her life, like I don't want to.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, it was a thing both of you were in, so it's both your lives, but it's also your life. So in my head, as long as you don't mention who that person is, like keep it just so vague.
But it's
really,
like they know because it's so fresh. Like if she were to watch the content,
oh well, yeah, if it's
like
fresh.
She would know
if it's fresh,
talking
then
about her
yeah.
And even if I am, that's okay. But just because of the circumstances, like I just don't think that's appropriate.
No,
I don't want to.
I guess it's different. I'm thinking more of like. It's been a minute since any of mine's happened.
I could see myself talking about experiences like I had with her in particular, because I'll talk about other experiences with other exes. Like I don't really care because it's been a long time, and but because like that is recent, like I don't want to stir the fucking pot or open a can of worms or whatever. So I just feel like it's more appropriate to give it time, But I would like there's a lot actually that I'd probably find like helpful to talk about, even though it's like a public platform, so it's kind of weird to do that. But I think you can do it in a way that's like acceptable or like not a bad way, But it just depends on how you go about it. There's like a certain line you have to walk with that, I think.
Yeah.
So, but right now, yeah, I'm not really trying to get into all that.
Well, let me cut back. Let's cut back in.
Yeah, you can
with
cut back in whenever.
With this story.
Oh, by the way.
What?
I don't know if this matters that much. What? Probably not, actually. I was just thinking about, like, glass placement. Probably doesn't matter.
Oh, I've been watching it. I've been watching mine at least.
Yeah. Do you think it would look better? Am I being too nitpicky? I'm probably being.
You might be too nitpicky, but like.
No, for sure. Like, do you think? Because I was thinking about the wide shot, but that's so so unimportant.
I don't know. I've been like kind of. I haven't been looking at the monitor as much as I thought I was gonna.
Yeah.
But like every now and then I look to be like, because I was keeping it here.
Yeah.
Which was like.
It's kind of weird, right?
Well, it was actually kind of making me pleased because it's just so lined up
centered.
perfectly. But
Yeah,
then I'm like, I don't like it here, so I just moved it to the side.
I was thinking like this side because the master shot, so it's like the glass is in front of you. I don't know. This is how I get sometimes with video stuff.
I mean, I
like,
understand. It's you want to. It's the art of the craft, and
yeah,
it's your thing.
Trying to make it all good, but sometimes it's like you're over.
You gotta let stuff go.
Yeah, it's like you're talking about where the fucking water glass is on the table.
Yeah, and I feel like I can be super like critical and thinking too much over that, but I feel like more often than not, I don't put thought into specific things.
It is good to think about things like that though, but it's like to an extent. There's certain things where that's really good, and other times where it's like chill out.
Yeah, which is why I always want like just like a partner or something like. Whether it's like and I don't mean like a girlfriend, but I just mean like
a boyfriend.
Exactly, yeah, that's what I mean.
Zach,
yeah.
will you date me?
No, because you're ugly. But
I knew it.
But like, I like the idea of always having like the people who made Crank and Crank 2.
I don't know if I've seen those.
With Jason Statham, where it's Crank 2 High Voltage.
I mean, kind of. Oh yeah,
it's a wild movie.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, but like there were two friends that like made these movies like. And I think they did Ghost Rider too. I mean, they don't do things together now, but
Nick Cage?
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. It wasn't a bad. The first one wasn't
There's
bad.
There's a guy actually. He's local. He went to the same school as I did. We had the same directing teacher, and he's directed like a bunch of movies now with like A-list celebrities. And I've talked to him on like Facebook a few times. Like a friend requested him, and this is what I do, like networking wise.
Yeah.
We've talked about networking and shit, but like when I want to work on movies, so it's like. I learned about that guy through my old directing teacher's Facebook posts because he was like so proud of him, and then I realized like he's like fucking lives around here, so I found him on Facebook and I friend requested him. He accepted. I sent him a message like hey man, like we're from the same area, like we relate to each other, like putting that out there, like you and I were not so different, you and I. Now, speaking of that, do you need any help on a movie? No, but I did. That is like more or less how I went about it in like a less, in a less like atrocious way. But no, he's really cool though, and I've talked to him about like working with him. You know, and I think I might at some point. I mean, he doesn't shoot locally that much. He shoots in like Atlanta and different places. So a lot of times they'll hire like local to where they're shooting, and then they have like the bigger positions filled like regularly, and they'll fly those people around. But I wouldn't expect it.
Well, it's expensive.
Yeah, and I wouldn't expect to be like an above the line position. I'd be below the line. So, but anyway, I've reached out to him like over. It's been years now, actually, probably of me just like every now and then just hitting him up like, hey, like what you got going on, man? Like, you know. But I try not to be weird about it. But I'll just reach out and talk to him. Anyway,
sorry, that reminded me.
The reason I brought him up was just to say that. Because we were talking about Nicolas Cage, and he said that he just got like a phone call from Nicolas Cage. He posted on Facebook, he was like, when Nick Cage calls, you answer, or something. Yeah. And it had like 400 likes, and I just commented on it like, Matchstick Men is one of my favorite movies of all time. I don't know what to say, but I just want him to know. I just want him to know I'm a Nick Cage fan, so he's like, all right, this guy.
I'm not kidding. Matchstick Men's a pretty good movie, though.
Great.
I love that movie.
I saw that growing up like as a kid on VHS. Like, that's a fucking great movie.
Yeah.
He's so good in that movie. For real. Like, people have their opinions about Nick Cage, and I do too. I used to be, like, not a big fan of him at all. And in some way, I'm still not. But I have, like, this weird, like, appreciation of Nicolas Cage where it's, like, I actually like Nicolas Cage. But he's also, like, I can't take him, like, that seriously. I don't know. It's confusing.
He's kind of like what I aspire to be, but just... really chilled out more than him.
You want to be more chill than him?
I want to aspire to be like kind of like him, but just like way more chilled out.
Like, what about him do you want?
Because I like that he just kind of does.
He
like
just goes for it.
I mean, he just goes. Yeah. But he also, I think, in some things you can see that he kind of just like kind of hacks it in.
He hacks it.
Yeah, just kind of like just kind of coast. But I think everybody does that in anything. So
yeah, like sooner or later.
But he's still going. And I hate that he hasn't actually had a movie of his own go to theaters except for Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse.
Was he in that?
Yeah, he was the voice of Noir Spider-Man.
Oh, really?
Yeah. But like...
Well, you mean in a while, because he's had a lot of movies in theaters.
Not lately.
Not lately?
No, but like, I think in the last 10 years,
probably.
He hasn't had one movie go to theaters.
Really?
Like, legitly.
In 10 years?
I think so, yeah.
It's been a while. I mean, I can't really think of many that he has gone to theaters with in a while.
It's been a long time, but
he used to have all kinds of movies in theaters all the time. Like
who?
Nicolas Cage.
Oh yeah, he was.
Back in the day.
He was a seller point.
Yeah, he was like the man's man.
Yeah.
You know, I always thought it was hilarious. Like, I never saw him as like an action movie guy ever.
Really?
Never. When I see Nick Cage, I'm like, this dude is not like that type of guy. I don't know. That's just my perception of him. So I could never really get into like him playing those roles of like the badass like macho dude. So it's like maybe it's because I saw him in Matchstick Men where he's like this quivering like OCD guy, and then that always stuck with me or something.
That can happen.
That's probably what it was because like I just never could take him seriously as like an action movie star.
See, I can totally believe it.
But it kind of grew on me. Like I used to be like, dude, Nick Cage is so corny and lame, and then I was like, I actually kind of like Nick Cage.
Yeah, I know.
These things, like I don't know, it's like a fucking guilty pleasure or something, like Ghost Rider. You know, like it's so like bad kind of, but it's like I fucking love it. You know,
it's funny for like Ghost Rider.
It's so confusing to describe.
But Ghost Rider is one of my favorite movies when I was younger. But like, there's not a lot of action that happens in it. It's just kind of like,
or like National Treasure. You know, like.
First of all, National Treasure 1 and 2 are fantastic. Why the fuck isn't there a National Treasure 3? We need to find out what's on page 72 or 42. I don't remember the page number. It's been years.
Yeah, those movies are good.
But have you seen... I watched this with someone, and I didn't know this movie existed. And it's probably not one of the better, one of the best movies, but it's called Moonstruck.
It's a Nick Cage movie?
Starring Cher and Nick Cage.
It's good. If it's sharing Nick Cage.
I think it's great. I know for a fact that it's not one of the, again, probably not even like B, maybe just above B movie. Yeah. But I like it. It's fantastic.
Reminds me of like the types of movies that actually like I really like, where it's like you don't take it too seriously.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's that kind of movie, and every now and then that's great.
Yeah.
You know, it just depends on, I guess, what you're looking for and the mood you're in and stuff. But like,
Well, like that's what he's doing right now with two movies
you
actually.
mean being super serious?
No, not taking it seriously at all.
Yeah. But that's one of the things about movies where I think we could do more of that these days. Like where it's a lot of like, I feel like when I was younger, there was a lot of movies that felt like movies and stuff that didn't feel so like real. You know, it's like, this is kind of ridiculous.
Oh,
and
like
the
it's more of a
actors are like obviously, you know, it takes you out of reality a little bit. And
like if it's too serious or too.
I guess so, or maybe they're like trying to be serious, but it's just like the way that it's done or the way that the actor is doesn't seem like very. It seems more cartoony in a way or something, you know, like it's more animated version of reality, and it's not like.
So do you want movies to be more serious or be more like a dream fantasy?
I like all kinds of movies.
Okay, I thought you were saying like movies are trying to be too serious now.
No, I mean,
and they could be more like fantastical, like the Goonies, like
yeah,
kids going
exactly.
underground and going to find a pirate ship.
That's
like
kinda,
that's not real.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm saying.
Oh, okay.
Except like, but I'm not saying that I don't like movies being serious. I love movies being serious too. Like, there's plenty of like dramas that I like or horror movies or whatever. I'm not really that big into horror, but like,
Not me either.
But I still like have a big appreciation for pretty much every genre. It's not like I only want one or the other, but I just I feel like I gravitate more towards like the sort of fantastical like.
Yeah, because it's a
movie.
Exactly, it's a movie. Like
let's do something a little like abstract here.
And I feel like I just feel like people don't accept fantasy movies like that as much. Like I'm not saying I'm talking about a specific person at all. I'm not doing that, but an example of they love the Goonies and it's one of their favorite movies of all time. But then they criticize a movie that's like a little bit less, unrealistic and fantastical, and they hate it because it's not realistic. Like, but you love The Goonies. Is it just nostalgia? Like,
yeah.
You can, I've grown to just be like to want more. Like, the movie's supposed to bring you into a world. Like, I want to get lost in that world.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, okay, this plot makes no sense at all, and I really wish it did. And I won't watch it again because that's all I'm going to think about. But like, I like the idea of the world, so I can just think about it later.
I feel like lately, like my viewing experience when I watch movies, like that's kind of more what I'm looking for. Although I love serious movies and dramas and stuff too. So it's like when it comes to like when I think about like the content that I want to make with like short films and filmmaking, it's like I was just talking to my buddy about this last night when we were hanging out. Like, part of my problem is that I want to do like everything. I'm like, I don't want to like just make a funny, goofy movie. Like, I also want to make dramatic stuff and serious stuff. And it's just like, it's hard to really put my finger on it or just pick one thing.
Yeah.
But
I want to do stuff like that. Like, I want to make, like, there's a movie I watched called Voyage of the Rock Aliens.
Nice.
Which
sounds sweet.
It's free on Amazon. Anyone.
I don't have Amazon.
What? Oh.
Prime?
Yeah.
Yeah, I canceled mine like years ago.
Okay. Well, I'm sure you can find this movie free. It's not like anyone's trying to like keep this one in there and like it's like to protect it because it's not making anything. Yeah. But it's got like it's wild. It's a wild dream of like mixing a few genres into like one thing, and then purposely trying to make it just outrageous, and then part pleasing music record corporations so this movie can be made. Like, do you know who Pia Zadora is?
No.
Pia Zadora. Sorry, I said it with an S. Pia Zadora was, I guess she was an actress back then. Like, Brian said that he remembered her as an actress, but like from what I've seen, I'm like, I mean, she had a few things, but and on our IMDb page has her more of like a musician, but on Spotify or whatever you can only find like one album. But she's in this movie, and like how Cyndi Lauper's like just like if you look at her from the '80s, like just '80s,
yeah, she
pretty
like
much.
Screams '80s.
Pia Zadora is like that, but not Cyndi Lauper level.
Like she's like a D-list celebrity version of Cyndi Lauper.
Pretty much, yeah. But like, so they put a music video. They just inserted a music video for one of her songs on an album, and just put that in the beginning of the movie to attract people to watch this movie. And I thought that the music video had so much to do with the rest of the movie that I'm like, because it has Jermaine Jackson in it, who was trying to be like Michael, like do his own thing. And so I'm like, how's Jermaine Jackson going to be in this movie? Like, I can't believe he agreed to do this. And it was like, white people dressed in all white, and it was black people dressed in like rags and stuff. I'm like, what kind of racial stuff are they, like, metaphor are they trying to talk about here in this movie called Voyage to the Rock Aliens, where these aliens come to Earth to learn about music and shit, and then never see Jermaine Jackson again. And I think almost all, I think one or two more songs of Pia Sedora is just a song from her fucking album. And
so it's like the trailer or the music video didn't really reflect the actual movie?
No, not at all. It was just like an alien's like, oh, Earth, let's watch this video. And it was the entire music video. And then they're like, okay, let's start the plot. Here's the reason why. Yeah,
dude, I love that shit. That did remind me of when Lilo and Stitch came out when I was a kid. Yeah. I remember when that movie like came out and the trailers were like Lilo or Stitch going into all these Disney movies. You remember that? Mm-hmm. And he was like infiltrating like Beauty and the Beast and, and like fucking up their scene. And I was like, damn, this looks sweet. Like as a kid, I thought like that was what the movie was going to be about. And then I go to see the movie and I'm like, where was any of that? Like literally the whole movie didn't have a single thing like that, the trailer. And I was like so confused. And I left feeling so disappointed about the movie.
Because it wasn't what you wanted.
Yeah, I was like, these trailers were so misleading. Like it literally completely threw me off. But it was, I mean, Lilo and Stitch is a great movie. I loved it. Yeah. But, like, it just wasn't what I was expecting at all. And I was severely disappointed.
Do you think that there's kids, like, now that also got tricked when Deadpool came out? And Probably. He was on the cover of a bunch of these different movies thinking, like, oh, it's just Independence Day, but Deadpool's in it. So Probably. They watch it and they're like, I thought this was the Deadpool edition. Yeah. What the hell?
I wouldn't be surprised, yeah. Did you like Deadpool?
Yeah, I thought it was fine.
Yeah, I thought it was good, too.
There's people that are like really against Deadpool, like the not like the character, but like the movie. Like I hate Deadpool. It's not funny. It's whatever. I'm like, I mean, it's.
Some people are just very opinionated about stuff.
Yeah, and also it's being exactly what it's supposed to be.
You ever seen Kung Fury? It's so good, dude. You guys.
Is that
it's on YouTube for free?
Wait, isn't that with David Hasselhoff? Mm-hmm. I have. So I listen to a song quite regularly called oh my God, what is this song called? It's for the thing. It's for Kung Fury.
Yeah, they made a music video, and when David Hasselhoff's in it, like with Knight Rider, and in the movie, or it's a short film. I love that for so many reasons. For one, it's like incredibly goofy and cheesy.
True Survivor. The song's called True Survivor.
Is it with David Hasselhoff in the video? Right?
Yeah, but I have it on Spotify and I listen to it like regularly, and it's David Hasselhoff singing it.
Yeah,
I didn't know it was for a movie when I listened to it.
They actually got him like to. It's like a student film kind of.
Yeah.
Like, the guy who directed it, and he also stars in it and like wrote it. Mm-hmm. But he fundraised, like crowdfunded like $100,000 for this.
Was this his first? Was that his first thing?
He made a sizzler, like a sizzle video. Like that's.
I thought you meant like a restaurant, like.
No, like that's like the industry term for making like a, like a 5-minute video to use to pitch to people to like get it produced.
Oh, okay.
So they made like a, like a trailer basically for this movie on like a shoestring budget with like a bunch of like green screen stuff, and they did it like very, very like guerrilla style, like no budget, like student film type of thing.
And then they used that as their crowdfunding thing.
Yes, exactly. Okay. Yeah, they used that to crowdfund. They raised, I think it was $100,000.
I just found my new business venture.
Yeah, dude. And then like they used that money to produce the film. And I mean, they built their own like infinity wall. It was like pretty big. It wasn't like a huge one, but the majority of the movie is shot like on a green screen, and then like there's certain scenes in it. Like I've watched a ton of behind the scenes about this because it's honestly super inspiring for like an aspiring filmmaker, because it's like a success story of somebody who had like nothing to work with except for like their creativity and their drive, and like they did a fantastic job. I mean. Like, yeah. He even did like a Comic-Con panel with like the cast and the director, and like I don't know if he was joking or not, but he was saying that he had like a meeting scheduled with like Steven Spielberg to like turn it into a feature, and I was like, please let that be real. Like I would love to see that made into a feature. But like,
when was this made? When did he?
It was a little while ago now, so I don't know if it'll ever.
When did
happen.
he say that?
That was years ago. But I mean, movies take a while to get made.
Yeah, but I'm just thinking about like. I feel like Steven Spielberg today, like, there's no fucking way.
No, probably not. No. When I first saw it, I was like, dude, that's so like inspiring. Like this to know like the whole story, and then to be like, then he wound up getting. But he might have actually had a meeting with him though. You never know.
It just depending on how that went is. Yeah. You know, but like but I was thinking like today Spielberg, I don't think so. Years ago Spielberg, maybe, yeah, probably.
No, yeah, it would be probably pretty unlikely. But either way, like just the journey of like that getting made, and then not only just the journey, but like how well they made it. Like it's fucking great. Like for what it is. I mean, it's it's goofy, it's super funny. Like it's sort of like vintage looking. Like they shot it to look all retro, and they use that to their advantage because they didn't have a big budget. So it's not like they would have ever been able to pull off like CGI that looks like the Avengers. You know, like they didn't have the money for it. So they did what was in the realm of like reason, like we have this much money, so like we need to go for like a style for this that's going to like be possible, and that's what they did, and they fucking killed it. Like it's so good. It's about like
that inspires me. It makes me jealous.
I mean, we could do stuff like that,
Yeah,
like,
I want to start.
Anybody can do it. Like, I mean, I legitimately, I mean it when I say like I want to expand the garage and put like a soundstage in there and build like an infinity wall so we can have like place to build sets and a place to shoot on a green screen and all that, and set lights and like shoot shorts and eventually like wherever that takes us. But like music videos too. But like the movie's so ridiculous. Like you haven't seen it, you said, right?
I saw the trailer. I saw a trailer for it. Not the
main character.
The music video.
The main character is like a police officer. His name's Kung Fury. And he's just like very kung fu guy, and he fights crime, and it's kind of like 70s based or something. In the beginning of the movie, he's one of the scenes he's in the beginning, he's like in his home like with some hot chick, and she's like feeling on his arms, and he's like, yeah, that's my bicep, do you like it, or something. Like it's super dumb. And like and then like he gets called in, to like go fight crime, and he like, it's just all the CGI magic they do, but like he jumps into like his like plane car. I think it's like a car that can fly, and it's like Knight Rider, except the voice of the car is David Hasselhoff. And like I guess David Hasselhoff like learned about like their what they were doing, and he agreed to be in it because he thought it was so cool. And so he's actually in it. And then they go to like the first villain is like an arcade machine that like becomes like a transformer that starts like blowing shit up, and like they go like fight that thing, and then it leads on this crazy adventure. Is this a
feature-length movie?
It's like 30 minutes long, short film. But like the ultimate story is that they have to go back in time to kill Hitler, and Hitler is a kung fu master. And at one point, they go way back in time to like this world where there's like dinosaurs and like Vikings and like these super hot like Viking chicks that ride dinosaurs, and they call like Thor comes in from the sky, and he's like this giant fucking like literal giant Thor guy, and it's like this bodybuilder guy who's like kind of older with a big beard, and he's like, super tan and jacked, but he's just like popping his pecs like while he's talking, and like they even say like nice pecs, and he's just like thanks, like like it's so dumb, dude. But like that's like what I love about it is just how incredible. Like they literally said about the filmmaking like that they just like didn't leave any idea off the table. Like if like an idea was thrown out there, they're just like like, that's great. Yeah, like write it into the script. So like it's so good, man. You gotta watch it.
I'm gonna watch that tonight.
There's like a documentary about it and everything. Like behind the scenes, they made all this content. Like you can see them shooting different scenes. Like they have this one guy, he's like the hacker who like helps them time travel, and like they built this set for him where they get like old box computers and just like all these props that they were so creative with it. Like it's so well made for what they had to work with. Yeah. And it makes me feel like it's like inspiring because it's something like you and I could legitimately do if we really put a lot of effort. I mean, it would be difficult to pull off. Like, it's hard work and.
See, I feel like
Yeah, a
that
lot
would
of
be.
effort.
I feel like we could do that with your Star City.
Star City.
Idea.
Yeah.
Bleep that out if he doesn't want that in.
Me? Oh no, I'm happy to talk about.
Okay,
Like,
but if we did something like that, like your detective story, but just like don't like open up and like show the whole city and like so detailed, but like show a little bit and let the imagination like carry for that. I feel like we should do that.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry. I gotta pee.
That's okay.
It was hurting. Like I gotta go.
You're good.
Okay, sorry. Thank God. It was starting to hurt. Like I was like, nah, I can push through, and it's like, nope, you do it right now.
Right. But
Cut back. We return to.
Dude, I mean, not even just with Star City. Like, that's one thing. With Star City, like, a big part of me wants to make that, like, animated. Like, hire, like, low-budget animators. I actually just found this dude the other day. Phenomenal animator. Like, really good. Like, you ever seen Samurai Jack?
Yeah.
Like, he, like, spot on makes, like, Samurai Jack quality animations. Like, they're so good. But I reached out to him on Instagram, and, I mean, I can work with him. Like, anybody can.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, I'll shout him out. If you want to look him up on Instagram, it's all in all is like his tag or whatever, all in all. He's so good, dude. But like I was asking him like, you know, what he charges or if we could ever work together. And he, you know, he's pretty expensive. So I was hoping, I figured like it doesn't hurt to ask, you know, like you can see if people are willing to bend a little on like their, you know, how they go about doing things. So I asked him if he would be willing to make like way shorter segments for like, you know, a fraction of the cost of what he offered me, but to where it's still like the equivalent of what he would make if he made a longer thing. It's just more bite-sized so I can afford it more. Because basically he said he quoted me at like $1,500 to $3,000 per minute. That's a lot, you know? So I was like, well, what if you make...
It's a lot of work. I mean, but
no,
like...
for sure. It's not, I'm not saying that's unreasonable for like the quality and the amount of time it takes, but like for where I'm at right now, for one, like that's not something I want to like budget for, and like I'm just not there right now. But like I had kind of reached out, and I don't know if it had to do with maybe I could have like asked in a better way, but like basically I tried to explain that I was interested in potentially working with him to where, you know, he could make like a fucking 5-second animation, you know, to where it's like it's not gonna take that much time of his, but whatever like the equivalent of him making a short animation, just to have like with Star City, I'm trying to just like concept develop right now. You know, like I just had an artist send me a piece that she made for Star City like yesterday, and she's doing another piece right now that's like a landscape more. So it's more of just like giving you like it's something that I can take to somebody else like you or another artist or whoever, and present to you like all these different images where it's like this is like where we're at right now, and this is going to give you an idea of like what this world is and some of the characters in it. And you know, you eventually, like if I just hire like an artist to do a piece here, an artist to do a piece there, maybe I find an animator to make a quick clip, and then I do that again and again and again over a course of a long period of time, then eventually you have like this whole universe, you know, and then you can, you know, keep developing the script, and sooner or later you have like this whole...
You're buying a car, but
foundation.
You're buying it one part at a time.
Kind of, yeah.
Basically.
It's like, you know, building my business, it's like I didn't buy everything all at once. I bought like the littlest amount I could over years, and then, you know, it became more successful, and eventually, you know, like I could take bigger steps and go faster, more quickly, or but I could, so like that's kind of how I'm approaching this, where it's I just want to slowly like build it out, because that's just feasible for me. Like I don't want to fucking bankrupt myself to try to make something. And so anyway, but I was gonna say like I'd be down to like do Star City live action stuff too, or even like take Star City as an inspiration to make our own thing. It doesn't have to be exactly that, although it could be. But like Josh and I had talked about doing, I think I talked to you about it, like some sort of like that movie Super, where it's like real people.
Yeah, I think we talked about this on the last podcast, actually.
Yeah. Where it's like, you know, I feel like something like that is for like a low budget filmmaker like us. Like that's something doable, where it's like you don't need a huge budget to do like all this production value stuff. Like you can just work with what you got.
I'm wondering, there is studios like we can rent out. I think some of them have like our green screen like just
Yeah.
filled that we can fuck with.
I know of a couple around here, but
Did
I
I-
mean, still, like, there's like Midwest Grip and Lighting has a big soundstage, but it's
Yeah.
like $500 a day. You know,
Yeah.
it's like
But and then if we get enough people to like pitch in
Split
for
it or
that, it
something.
could be pretty cheap.
that's true.
Did
Yeah.
I tell you about the Ellen? Did we talk about the Ellen Page short thing I told you about?
I think you might have mentioned it.
It was like because it wasn't all green screen. It looked like just bits, and it wasn't like a thing. It was like maybe like 4 minutes tops, and it was just like a futuristic world. She comes out, goes on an elevator, and then she gets food. She gets food, and then she goes back in the elevator and goes home. It's like that's it.
Yeah.
But it was basically she was she is Elliot Page now. I think it's they. We talked about this
Yeah,
before,
either way.
but at the time, Ellen Page was just in sweats, and
Sweatpants.
yeah, sweatpants. It was basically just like if I just got out of bed
Yeah.
and decided to act in something. And there was green screen, and it was just a guy like on a step stool, like in the back. And there was one part where it was like she would step on they would step on something, and they would turn because of the way the shot was. Like the camera was moving, but it really wasn't. The camera wasn't moving. It was her moving. It just looked like.
Yeah,
The cameras
she
was-
used her body to create some sort of like cinematic thing.
Yeah, because she was. He was supposed to be in an elevator, and it was facing like this way, and they were on the spinning thing. So when they spun, the camera basically moved around to show the rest of the city, which was like
Yeah.
really, really cool.
Yeah.
So I just blocked that camera. But yeah, it was really, really cool. And it was just in that room they had nothing in there.
Yeah.
Except for like it almost looked like just green screen strip a little bit on
Yeah.
the wall, and then
Yeah.
I don't know how they did
I was
it.
just talking to my buddy Jake yesterday about how you and I have been talking about making short films and cinematic stuff, and how like you've expressed to me a number of times about being frustrated with trying to get stuff made and not it never happening, and it's not just you. Like I've had that experience myself, and I know a lot of other people who have expressed that to me, and like I think it's so important to just create. Because you have to just start. Like you're never gonna get anywhere if you don't start.
Yeah, that's why
Yeah.
I quit my job.
It's like just fucking make some shit. Who cares? Like obviously you care, but like regardless of anything you ever want to be good at, you can't get good at it without just like practicing the craft.
Oh yeah, it's not I expect everything I make to be bad, even if I'm 80 and I'm peaking in my filmmaking.
At 80.
I'm
peak
throwing
at
them.
80.
Yeah, exactly. I'm just or whatever. I'm just throwing out like, what
Yeah,
if I'm
man,
like,
finally peaked?
finally, but whatever. But like, I mean, like if I'm like 45 and like I've made the best film I'll ever make in. In Dreamland, I've made the best film ever, and it's like hit the streets. Like, and it's awesome. People are like pirating this movie; they want to see it.
Worshiping you, making
Yeah.
shrines in their closet.
Exactly. But like, even then, at that point, I'll be like, all my films are bad. I have to accept all
Like,
my
you
films
just
are
know
bad.
That it could be better, and I mean everything's got
It-
potential to be better.
I do that as like as just to not be worried about it being so perfect.
Yeah.
Like it's not because I believe, or I don't know, it's weird. If I just be like accepted, like it's just bad. I mean, it's good. Like I like it. It's probably some of the best work I've ever done, but like it's bad. It could be better. Instead of like, it's like it's almost there. It's like no, it's the best. Like, but it has to be this, and that. Instead of just like worrying about it being the worst movie ever, I'm just like
I wouldn't say
bad.
it's bad though. I feel like that's too negative. I think. Like,
Yeah,
Not to like
Yeah.
correct you. I'm just saying like.
no, I
think-
know.
I know what you're saying, but I think it might be helpful to think of it a little bit differently, where it's like you're still thinking of it the same way, but it's like slightly altered.
Yeah,
You
not
know,
as negative.
Because
I
sometimes
agree.
it's like I'll talk. I mean, like I said, I do therapy sometimes, right? And like my therapist even said something about how like sometimes I'll be talking about something and he'll sort of like kind of help me think a little differently about it, to where it's like I'm still saying the same thing, I'm just not using such negative words, and sometimes it can be helpful to sort of shift your way of thinking, where it's like
Yeah.
like calling something you make is just bad. It's like, well, that's just, I don't know, maybe it's like it's not perfect,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? It's
Maybe you're right. Because I think I've always operated that way. Like when we were talking about, not on the show, but we were talking about relationships, and I was like, and I told you about how like I just accepted being single and I'll have nobody.
Yeah.
But like, and then I told you, I say like a lot, and then afterwards I told
knew that
you,
too, yeah.
how like I did it again. I was like, there. Fuck my.
Now that you're thinking about
I
it,
know,
you
dude.
just
But
gotta go. Sometimes it's like impossible not to, man. I just did it too. Now we're all just gonna be super self-conscious when we talk.
I know. I'm trying to form a sentence without it. But how I was saying, I'm just gonna be single forever. I'm never gonna have anybody, and I just need to accept that because it just makes it easier.
Yeah, like
that
that's just depressing.
it is depressing. Like it depressed me a while ago, but I know that I'm probably like there is somebody out there to date. So yeah, I probably could be looking at that better instead of just like I'll be single forever, and if anyone shows up, cool. But I have to accept that I am.
And that can apply to like anything in your life, like movies or
Yeah.
filmmaking, or,
And I think but I think you're right. Like, I make it too negative, and I don't know that I'm doing that. Like to me, it just like I don't think it's negative saying like
you're
all
trying
my
to like
movies.
not be full of yourself, and you know, should have because I do this too to an extent sometimes where I'm trying to be humble, or I'm trying to like. You are your own worst critic, so it's easy to. I mean, I've done that with my YouTube channel a ton, and I still do it where I'm like talking about my old content being terrible.
Yeah.
You know, and I still to this day like some of my old content I'm like, this shit sucks. Like, and I feel like that's just me being real about it. Like, but at the same time, I'm still glad I put it out there. It's like indicative of where I was at that point in my life.
Yeah.
And it's just what it is.
I'm not worried about putting anything out there unless it's offensive because I mean I'm sure something I do or say is gonna be offensive to somebody, but it's like perfect. I'm not trying to. Yeah. You know. And
even if people fucking make mistakes, man. Like that's another thing that drives me kind of crazy about today is how the whole cancel culture is, and it's so easy for people to come down on somebody who makes a mistake or has a character flaw, where it's like people need to have the ability or like the room to grow and become better. So I feel like a lot of people get caught up in like demonizing someone or coming down on somebody for something that they've done wrong or that's seen as wrong, and then they don't like give them any leeway to improve. It's just like, well, you did this at one point in your life, and now you're forever that person, and you have. But that's just ignorant on those people's part, to the people that hold people to that standard, because it's like, who are you to be that judgmental to where you're like perfect or something? You know?
Yeah. Oh yeah. And the part that really gets me the most is now I understand if you're tweeting stuff, like if you're putting it on the internet, like what's.
Yeah, I mean, there should still be consequences and like.
Well, I mean, just like. Yeah, there's gonna be consequences, but like, this is gonna be around forever. You really, really want to go through with this, and then you're just like, yep, and you hit the tweet button. But even like if it's 15 years ago, and it's a tweet, I don't know, Twitter was around 15 years ago. You get the idea though. Yeah. But if it's like a tweet somebody made 15 years ago, and the world is really different 15 years ago than it was now, like. But then someone sees that and like tries to bring it up.
Yeah.
In like
it's kind of ridiculous, honestly.
It's.
I mean, I have mixed feelings about it too. I'm not trying to. I'm sort of playing devil's advocate a little bit, but I agree. Like, it's okay to bring that stuff up because it's like worth noting to an extent, but also, like people change, and people even if they haven't changed, like sometimes it's good to be brought up.
If they haven't changed, there's it's highly unlikely that that's the only thing on the internet that they'll find like that. If they said something like if they said something offensive or like this 15 years ago and they're still doing it now,
that's just like who
they haven't changed, they're probably still doing it, and they're probably more focused on the ones 2 years ago versus the one that was way back here.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, but usually it's like if they never see. Now, of course, people can be really horrible people, but they know not to put on the internet until like 1 or 2 slip-ups. So, like Weinstein, I guess.
Yeah, I'm not saying like everything is excusable.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess it's like even people who are really bad like can sort of redeem themselves internally or like in the eyes of the Lord. Amen.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, I don't know. It's a complicated thing because
Like talk
there's
about
so
it.
many different people and different types of mistakes or
Like,
different. You know.
Talk about it. People are different. Liam Neeson did a great example of like he did something wrong. It wasn't the same as a tweet, but he thought or did something wrong based on something. Had that thought.
Backlash or.
No, he had that thought for years.
Yeah, like thinking that way.
Yeah, because I think it was because he had a friend and like a guy raped her because his friend was a girl, and she got raped and it was a black guy. So Liam Neeson like
was like racist because of it. So
yeah, because I think there was
kind
other
of vaguely remember like
there was other factors involved too, but like to make that stereotype and assumption for black people in his mind, but
the more you talk about it, I do remember that.
yeah, but like that wasn't a thing on the internet. That wasn't a whatever. You know, he brought it up and wanted to talk about it. Like I was wrong. Like anybody can rape people, and it doesn't matter if they're black or not. And because they're black doesn't mean that they only rape people. So I was wrong, and people can change. And for some reason, he got hit so hard for being racist. Like, okay, yeah, he was. And it was because of this, and he talked about it and said it was wrong, and like said he was really tunnel vision, one mind or one side.
He's basically trying to change and like apologizing and like acknowledging his flaw.
Well, I think that incident that made him think that, and then I think maybe he changed like before his movie career. I don't know the time frame on that, but I don't think it was like he had that thought in 1980, and then in 2016. A year before he talked about this on the show, he just changed. I think his mindset changed way, like, probably like 10 years after that, maybe the 90s or something. Because like Hollywood is a very diverse, and even though it is very highly racist, you still like it is still very diverse, and you meet a bunch of exotic people. So it's very rare when you see racist people, openly like that or think that.
Yeah.
At least to me. I mean, even being just like doing the theater scene for a little bit, just like not saying it opened my eyes to black people or anything. Like it's not like I needed that change, but it was just different personalities and stuff like that. That was just like, oh, they're just different people. Like, and it just made it more diverse, and I liked it. So it's that. But he didn't get shit on for a long time, but he shouldn't have got shit on in the first place. Figure like, yeah, people.
I mean, I can see.
People need to chill.
Should have. I don't know. My perspective is like, shouldn't or should. I don't know whether or not he should have or shouldn't have. I think it's fair for people to like feel how they feel about something. Whether or not they necessarily are right entirely to the extent that they take it to. Like. Because everything has consequences, so it's like, if you had, like, the wrong way of thinking, it's okay to be held accountable, and for people to come down on you potentially about it. But like, at the end of the day, it's kind of like internal. Like, how do you process that? Like, I think it's kind of good to hear feedback like about things that are wrong with you to an extent.
I welcome it.
Yeah, but at the same time, like, it's all about the balance.
Don't get any ideas.
If you're like only taking negative feedback all the time, like that's going to be really unhealthy, you know. Or if people aren't forgiving of you and you are changing, or you are like acknowledging flaws of yours, and people aren't like forgiving you or like letting you move on from it, like that's toxic as fuck. But like, so there's just a balance.
Don't let them go, but don't let them go, but don't hang on too hard.
Yeah,
it's that simple.
Yeah, it's like nobody's perfect, and things do need to be like acknowledged and like held accountable. But like at the end of the day, don't you just want people to like be better?
I do. Not everybody else does.
I guess, yeah.
Some people just want people to die because they're the devil.
Yeah, or they just like, they have different prerogatives, I guess.
I hate the planet. Let's go to Mars. We'll make the first movie on Mars. We gotta start writing soon. Jesus.
Yeah.
What time is it? Let me check the time. It's 6:45.
We've been going for an hour 35, which, I mean, we can keep going, or what do you want to do?
Let's go a little bit longer because I want to.
And on a good note.
I want to end on a good note.
Early,
Yeah.
I guess.
I was trying to think about like if I should tell this specific story or not.
No, I'm curious. Tell it, man. It's a podcast.
All right, I'm gonna be very vague about it.
Okay. Cryptic.
Yeah.
Mysterious.
So I'd broken up with my girlfriend at the time, and some circumstances made me just go to Tinder, which is always a great time
I sense a little bit of sarcasm
for everyone.
for all the time. Just Tinder's great.
But I wasn't taking it seriously.
This episode of Food for Thought brought to you by Tinder. That'd probably be a hell of a brand deal, though.
I actually no, because oh God.
You don't have to.
I want to talk about the Tinder Corporation screw up. Like those people are insanely just hypocrite. I hate them. I hate the guy who created it and then had the person he was dating, like, then apparently he like molested or raped her, and then like she sued him, got money, and then she went and started Bumble.
Oh, so they were like, I didn't know that they were like a thing.
Yeah, but it's all like they're all just
Yeah, dating apps suck.
yeah. So, but I didn't take it seriously. I've been just using it as a joke.
Yeah.
But then I tried to start a joke for this person I just matched with. Like I matched with her, and then within an hour we're talking. She's like, "I'm gonna go to a bar with friends. Do you want to go?" Like, I was very apprehensive to go for multiple reasons, but so I went. I got there, and to keep it short, it was very awkward. I tried to make conversation. I ended up like standing next to her, trying to look for her, and I didn't even realize for like the first time.
You were standing next to her.
Yeah, because I entered the bar and I was just standing there looking, and then I eventually looked over and I'm like, oh, that's just her. Mm-hmm. She's right there. But I was so nervous. Like, it's a dating app. Don't do those. New people in this, because I always feel like meeting on Tinder is such a weird, like, just a weird new situation. You know, it's just awkward.
It's a kind of weird way to meet somebody.
Yeah, and I don't like it, so I was very anxious about it. So
not to like hate on people who like met their significant other on Tinder, but
I think it works for
a friend of mine. He's one of my best friends. Like I've known him almost my entire life since I was a little kid. Mm-hmm. And I mean, we grew up together making videos and stuff. And he did the podcast recently. He lives right down the street, but like his girlfriend currently that he's been with for a while now. Like they met through Tinder. So like I just wanted to throw that in there.
No, I don't think
that's what you're saying either. I'm not trying to.
No, I think Tinder, like as much of a evil corporation that it is to milk money out of people, which works. I'll give them that. It works out for people very well.
Yeah,
it's so I'm so glad it can. So long story short, I tried to make conversation. It didn't really work. I felt very excluded, and I'm like, I don't want to be here. I even talked to her friends like a little bit more. Her friends were cool.
Was this recently or was this a while ago?
This was a while ago. Mm-hmm. So I ended up I just left.
Yeah.
I didn't say anything.
You just dipped out.
I like creeped out of the place, and I just left.
Yeah. Didn't even say bye. Just like, this is not for me.
Nope, I didn't even say bye.
Remove myself. No, that's fine, dude. You don't always have to say bye if it's that bad.
I know, but I somehow felt bad for doing that for like an hour. So anyway, fast forward to like a couple days ago. I'm going. I happen across the old hookah bar I used to go to. That I don't go to anymore, really, because it's expensive, it's loud, and compared to the one that you hung out with me at that one time, it's just so it gives you a headache.
What's it called?
It's called Sahara.
Excuse me.
The one I went to, and so I decided just to go. 'Cause I think stop in. I had things on my mind.
Mm-hmm. You were just going to go. You didn't like meet somebody there.
No. I just happened to be next to it. And so I was like, all right, well,
Yeah.
just see what happens. So I went, and I had my book on me, so I was just like writing some ideas and stuff, just like anything to think of.
Yeah.
There's an old friend that I hadn't, that goes there every day when I was going there, and he was there, and I'm like, hey, man. He goes, hey, what's up? And then just sat by myself. Mm-hmm. So this group, and it's quiet. Like, I mean, there's music playing, but it's like quiet, it's chill, and there's like maybe 3 of us in the whole place. I'm like, this is perfect. So then this big group comes in, like a group of people, like maybe of like 8 to 10 or 7, I don't know.
Maybe even 11, or is that?
That's too much. Okay. Don't go any higher.
You think it could have been 6?
Maybe 6.
Okay.
I actually don't know. I think I get.
So 6 to 10.
We'll go 6 to 10.
Okay.
I always feel like I overestimate
Important
numbers too
detail
much.
there.
Yeah, yeah. It was a big group of people, and where I was sitting, like I was here, and they were basically like they took the spots right next to me, so it like kind of irked me, and I'm like, come on, guys, 6 goddamn feet.
Yeah.
But it didn't bother me too much. At least like they were all. It was enough distance, but but I didn't see them, so they start going to the bathroom in pairs, which they have to walk past me and go downstairs. So these 2 girls go down to the bathroom, and they come right back up, and I notice one of the women looked familiar. I'm like,
oh, is the girl from Tinder? Did she recognize you?
We'll get there.
Okay, sorry.
So
Jumped the gun.
But I realized that I've like a few times where I feel like I've recognized someone and I try to engage with that person. It's not who
times where you're like,
it's not who it's not who I thought it was. Like,
yeah.
Where I'm like, hey, like I see someone that looks exactly like a guy I used to know named Trey. I'm like, hey, Trey. And he goes, what's up? I'm like, you're not, never mind. So, and I've done that enough times and screwed up to where just be like, you know what? I'm just not going to say anything because as much as I think I'm sure, I'm probably wrong. But it looks just like this person from Tinder. This woman looks just like her. So I just let it go. They find out it's karaoke night at the hookah place. But it's open mic, so it was just like if they wanted to do it, they can. So they start doing karaoke, which is very loud. But I was enjoying it because they were having fun. It was just fun to see. So, and the person, that woman is the first person to go up and sing. And we're like, oh, yeah. 20 minutes. So anyway, 20 minutes go by of just me sitting down enjoying writing an idea down every now and then. That woman comes and sits right, because there's 3 chairs at the table. She comes and sits right next to me. And she's like, hey, I see you're in your own little world. I'm like, yep. And as I'm responding, I'm like, really looks like this person right now.
Yeah.
Really looks like this woman. So she sits down and, just making small talk, like trying to, starting conversation, like, you look like you're in your own world. I'm like, yeah. It's like, why don't you get up and do karaoke? I'm like, I don't, no. And, but then I tried to play it cool and just be like, maybe, if I'm heavily talked into it, maybe I could, but on the inside, I'm like, please do not make me go up there for the love of Christ. Yeah. But she goes, you have to, you're next. I'm like, cool. But inside, I'm like, no, don't. So then we're just talking about her friends and like why they're here. But then in the middle of her saying something, she's like, you look really familiar. I'm like, and that like alarms in my head started going off. I'm like, I just have one of those faces. I used to work for Kroger when I was a teenager, and I still get recognized, which I still do. It's wild. Like, it's weird. These people I don't remember at all, recognize me as a cashier when I was 17. Today, whatever. But so I said, maybe that's why. She goes, what's your name? I said, my name's Zach. And then she said her name, and as soon as she said it, I'm like, this is exactly who this person is. It's her. Yeah. It's this person. And so I'm like, all right, well, now that we've confirmed, just play along like you don't know. Because
did she not know that it was you?
I don't know.
Yeah, like what if you knew?
I mean, she got me to go up and do.
What if you both were just like trying to like not?
I'm actually thinking that okay. After she did, I actually ended up doing karaoke, and she said she'll dance the whole time to support me, which was cool, and she actually did.
Was she a good dancer?
I don't know. I was trying to look at the words to make sure I didn't screw up the words. And
What
then
song did you do?
sang by My Chemical Romance.
Sing?
Yeah.
How's it go?
I don't want to.
Just like a line. I just want to try to remember this.
Nope. I don't want to.
Come on.
No.
Just come on. You can be heavily talked into it, right? So like, what's the? Just like a
You
line.
know what song it is.
No, I really like. I know My Chemical Romance.
You know, singing for the boys, singing for the girls. I don't know the rest of the lyrics.
How's it go?
I'm trying to remember.
How's like the rhythm of it? Like instead of just talking the lyrics, like what's the melody?
I thought I just did it.
You just said, singing for the boys, singing for the girls.
That's the chorus.
But how's it delivered?
Singing for the boys. You know the song. You're just
No,
making
I don't.
me.
I swear to God.
We're looking this up. We're moving on.
All right.
Anyway,
At least I got you to do that much.
I hate you
That's
so
all
much.
needed.
But
I really didn't know. I was curious.
I was so nervous. Like, my legs were shaking so hard uncontrollably doing karaoke. It was my first time ever. So
Yeah.
anyway, afterwards, I'm like, I go back and sit down, and I'm like, all right, this is it. Like, she'll just probably
I
make
did it. No, we're done.
Yeah, like, she got, I guess, like, she helped me out, or, like, she got what she wanted. I'm not trying to say, like, she had ulterior motives, but, like,
Yeah.
she wanted me to have a good time. She did it. So I figured, for some reason, I just thought after this, she like, you did a good job, and she'll hang out with her
leave you alone,
friends.
Yeah.
So, but she didn't. She basically sat down with me the entire rest of the night for like 2 hours or an hour and a half. I don't remember. And like periodically we'd get up and dance and like converse, but like usually just come back and then make small talk.
Mm-hmm.
And the whole time I was thinking like, does she remember me and she's pretending not to?
Mm-hmm.
Or does she legitimately not remember me? I mean, it's not like it was probably a memorable experience for her.
Mm-hmm.
It just was for me because I was so
How
nervous.
long ago did you meet her? Like for the first time? Was it years ago or was it like within a year?
It was within the year. Because this was yesterday, it had to be long. Probably, yeah, close to a year, I think.
So you met her like a year ago?
I'll say that, yeah. Why not? Okay. I think it's, yeah, that makes more sense. That makes sense. So.
Maybe she just wanted to fucking hit it off with you. Sounds like she liked you, man.
Okay, so that was what, so even at the end of the night, she like friends me on Facebook.
All the signs are there, Zach.
Hold on a moment. Hold on.
All right.
Hold on a mo. She friends me on Facebook.
You just abbreviated
And I know. And then she invites me to go to this burlesque show because she talks about how she does burlesque dancing because we were talking about my stage fright or whatever.
Yeah.
And she goes, well, I do this. I'm like, oh, burlesque, what's that like? Oh, we do this. I'm
So
like,
she's not shy, is what you're saying.
yeah. So I'm like, so when is the next one? She goes, April 3rd. You want to go? I'm like, yes. So I said yes
You
to.
have a date.
Nope, because I didn't ask her out. I didn't ask her number. I basically was like, I'm not going to try and pursue this romantically at all.
Yeah. So she's pursuing you.
I don't think so about that either.
Well, kind of. I mean, she asked you to do karaoke. She danced for you. She kept sitting next to you. She asked you if you wanted to go to a burlesque show.
She also invited me to go to regular karaoke nights with her and her friends too, by the way.
Like more frequently.
Yeah.
Like they do that regularly.
Yeah.
How do they do it, like once a week?
Maybe. I think
Does she have a bunch of friends? You said
Yeah.
At least 6, maybe
6 to
up
10. Yeah. Yeah.
So,
But her friends were cool too, because like they all were like super cool with me after I did the the karaoke. So like
Yeah.
her friends are awesome as far as I know.
yeah.
Um,
You've only met them once.
yeah, through that little interaction.
No, that's cool though. They
But
sound like a good time.
And then at the end, she's like, I said, thank you for getting me out and doing, like making me
Yeah,
do something out of my
bringing you out
comfort
your
zone.
shell, yeah.
Yeah. So she said, and then this is what like confused me. She goes, yeah, I hate it when people are excluded. I like including people whether I know them or not.
And then you were like,
basically,
wait a minute. Last time I was with you, I felt
Yeah.
excluded.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So and exactly. So then I called up my
Should have
friend.
just said that. Like that would have just ruined
I
everything.
I know.
No, actually, I'm just kidding. You should not have said that. I was just
No.
joking. Because if you did, then it probably would have got awkward. But
I would have screwed it all up. But I told my friend this.
I mean, you're attracted to her, right? So like, I mean, you matched with her on Tinder.
I mean, yeah, she's attractive.
So that's good.
Like even the Tinder part, it wasn't like I'm going to try and score. It was just
Yeah,
I'm
not
going to go out and like socialize,
Yeah. Like
whether it's a
meet
date or not.
somebody, go on a date or whatever.
Yeah. With Tinder dates, I don't try to like I don't. Which
You're not
I,
like going in with the preconceived notion that you're gonna like sleep with them. So.
I just take it with I'm going to hang out with a person.
Yeah.
if they want it to be a date, that's fine with me. If not, that's
Yeah.
cool. I get to hang out with someone new.
Yeah.
But where was I at? I don't remember my part of my story.
She mentioned like not wanting to exclude people.
Oh yeah, so I'm like, yeah. So that kind of confused me. But then, so after I call my friend and tell him, and he's like, "You have to go." I'm like, "I have to." He goes, "You have."
The burlesque thing.
Yeah.
Where is that at?
In I don't want to say it on air.
That.
I don't want to say it on air. I don't want to say it on air right now. I don't want to. I don't want to say it on air.
That's okay.
I'll tell you after.
Okay.
I'm actually about to invite you. Do you want to?
I was gonna say like.
Do you want to go?
I'll go.
All right, let's go.
I was actually just funny you brought that up because I was just talking. I was with my parents earlier.
Yeah.
And like I was just talking to them about. I'm not actually gonna be that specific. I was talking about someone that we all know, who took us to a burlesque show, and it was just random because we were just talking about that.
Yeah.
But anyway.
That's kind of funny that you were talking about burlesque shows today.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you want to go, let's go.
That's weird because last time we did a podcast, we were talking about how nobody dislikes
Bill Murray.
And then I saw a fucking video on YouTube of this guy saying how much he absolutely hates Bill Murray just because he's a thing. Like, what the frick?
Yeah. But if
I'm
you
say the F word last, so
frick.
I'm about to just start saying frick.
I started watching myself, but then I heard you say it a few times. I'm like, oh well, this video's ruined anyway. All right.
I think we've already said
I know.
F word and other things that are.
I know. I gotta stop.
It's okay. I mean, honestly, I don't care.
Okay.
We can say whatever. It's fine.
But so anyway, at the end, so after this, the goal is to just see what happens.
That's
like
that's probably the best way to approach
I have to see what happens. I have to see this through, and
you got to get your D wet, bro. Straight up. Ha, ha, ha.
And I'm constantly like, so I'm also like, I periodically check Facebook like once or twice a day now. Yeah. Which has only been like a day or two so far. Just to see if she's unfriended me, because when I
why would she just like randomly do all that and then just unfriend you?
Well, because on Tinder, when I left without saying goodbye, I went home and checked Tinder, and immediately I was like, she unmatched me.
Oh, really?
So like I'm like thinking like if she remembers.
I bet you she does.
But if she remembers,
it's kind of funny that like you don't know if she remembers, and this is like a mystery now. I would assume that she probably remembers you.
That's what I'm thinking.
Especially if she unmatched you. She probably saw you and she's like, oh, there's that dude. Like, I think he was so cute and he left me alone on our date. And now here's my chance. I'm going to pursue him because I'm an outgoing, independent woman. You know?
But the difference of like between the two interactions is big.
I mean, who knows why that is.
I mean, it might have been an off day. I honestly think it might be like the Tinder like the Tinder effect.
Yeah, like where it's just like meeting someone on Tinder for the first time, and you're just like, it's kind of weird.
Exactly.
And
versus like
your the way you were coming across, maybe. Even,
I think it might have been too. I also think about that constantly. Like I think it was
maybe
probably
I was being standoffish,
fault.
and it was like I was internalizing all this stuff and.
Yeah, but I mean, I did try. Like I tried to like. Even with her and her friends, like I just like made conversation. I tried to keep it going, but it felt like it always like fell flat and just stopped. Mm-hmm. But I still think like it might like it's like I think it might have been
It'd be hilarious if you guys just end like hitting it off, and then you start dating for a long time, and then you get married and you have kids.
I don't even think about it.
And then you watch this podcast back 5 years from now, and you're like, whoa.
Yeah, well, that was another reason why I didn't want to, cause like I was I'm gonna promote it and post it, but like I don't think I want to. Put this one on my Facebook.
You don't have to share it if you don't want to.
No, but that's the thing is I want to, but like with this one, I'm like I don't think I'm gonna, because if she sees it,
it's not like you said anything bad.
No, but like I also think like if she for some reason, not saying it's gonna happen, but if she asks me out and I say yes and we start dating and then it's like, how did you meet? Yeah. Or what if for some reason like
it's funny how like sorry
I know, but like what if for some reason like we're just like. With out and about, like whether it's just me and her or it's like me and her friends, and she starts talking, but like somebody brings up Tinder and she's like, "Yeah, do you remember that one?"
It's like, oh, that's that fucking guy.
I either have to like I have two choices. Turn around and be like,
you just leave right at that moment.
Yeah, I don't
like,
even.
You don't even look at her. You just leave. That's how you have to do that, unless or.
I don't even say bye.
Yeah, again. No. Dude, maybe she will realize it, and then you guys can talk about that too.
Honestly, if anything, that's probably how it'll go. Where if she remembers, it'll be like, it'll just be like funny for a minute, and then we'll just move on. Yeah. But if she remembers and like we're doing the same thing where we both remember but we're pretending not to bring it up.
It'd be pretty funny. Yeah, that's like a movie right there in itself. You could write a story about that.
I wrote after like when she got up to go do a song after like I had done a song and we talked for like 10 minutes and she walked away. I just wrote down like and I wrote her name, Encounter, like because I'm like this could be good for something. I'm not saying it on air.
I was just trying to get you to say it.
No, I'm not.
Oh man.
All right, that's all I got.
That's pretty good. I approve.
But it was just it's those moments like even though it was awkward and anxious, like I enjoyed it immensely.
You mean like the karaoke thing?
Honestly, like as much as I was nervous doing karaoke, like I kind of wanted to do it again, but with like a song I knew.
Yeah.
And
dude, that's some of the best. I think most people could probably say this for themselves, but like speaking for myself, some of the best times I've had are just when I'm like kind of stepping out of my comfort zone.
Yeah, but it was also just like I miss having those encounters, whether it's like, you know, the one I just described.
Yeah.
With like some anxiety and like I don't know, or if it's just like fun, just like I went out and just something happened.
It just like breaks you from like the normal routine.
Yeah.
It's not like the same old shit every day. It's like some random thing that you didn't anticipate. Yeah.
And before the pandemic lockdown, like I loved those. Like I'm counting down these days for like Brian to get this vaccine.
Yeah.
So that like I can just be just if anything a tiny bit more free because like even though it'll affect me in the long run of my life, what I'll have to deal with for the rest of it, like I protect myself, you know, but I do it more because who knows what'll get on me and then give to him. But I don't know. I mean, and again, I wasn't going out to like find this. I was just trying to be alone, and it just happened. But I forgot how much I missed just like
life,
interacting.
Yeah, man.
Which is also why I'm liking this too.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I mean, same. Like that's a big part of the reason I want to do these podcasts with people is like to just switch things up, talk to people, like, socialize. Like it's hard to do that sometimes these days. You know, like everybody's wants to isolate or there's just things aren't open. Not everybody. I mean, you know, some people are more strict about it than others, but I'm just trying to do more and step out of my comfort zone and like with everything, you know, from the YouTube channel to like real life. You know, and just experience life a little bit more. I feel like I've like a lot of my 20s have passed and like I feel like I spent a lot of that time like building a business and getting the house done, and you know, like I just feel like I need to live a little more.
Yeah.
Beyond that kind of thing. So yeah, I can relate to that for sure.
So we're going to you're going to go with me to the burlesque show?
Go. Sure.
Cool. I think it might be three or four of us total.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I'm down. I've only been to one before and it was
I've never been, so even without this thing behind it, just going to that is going to be new.
Yeah, it was the one I went to was cool. It was kind of the circumstances were strange, but
yeah.
Yeah.
All right, you want to do your sponsor? You want to end it? Do your sponsor thing?
Yeah. This episode of Food for Thought is brought to you by Racoma Embroidery Machines International. If you want to buy an embroidery machine, you've come to the right place. I have a partnership, influencer partnership with Racoma. They make really great embroidery machines that I was actually sent one. I'm going to be testing it out in the shop, showing you guys some side-by-side comparisons of this brand's machine versus Tajima, which is like the creme de la creme of the embroidery, industrial embroidery machine world. So anyways, content to come to show off that stuff to you guys and really show you how it works. Excuse me. But if you want to buy an embroidery machine and you're in the market, there's a link in the bio to this video and a lot of my other videos. If you click on that link, you can get a discount from whatever machine you buy, or parts or whatever you end up getting. If you buy it through my link, you will get a discount through that. And yeah, that's about it. Other than that, thank you guys for watching. I have a lot of fun doing these, and I want to keep doing them for a long time. Zach, thank you for being my guest. Thank you for joining me, sir.
Yeah.
It's a good time. And
I hope you're all comfortable with me because you're unfortunately going to get a lot.
Yeah, Zach's probably going to be a reoccurring guest that you'll see a lot of. We're going to be working on some other stuff too. And yeah, I'm going to try to get to like a weekly upload schedule. Right now we're like bi-weekly, but eventually I'm trying to upload a lot more frequently. There's going to be music to come, podcasts. We're still doing startup life, business related stuff. We're going to be making some more cinematic, like short film, mockumentary, music video. We're just going to see where it takes us, but there's a lot of new content on the way, in the works. So stay tuned for that. Like, subscribe, comment if you feel like it, share it. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys on the next episode. Peace out.
You did the YouTube equivalent of like the Bop It.